Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Spellweaver video. Now with the open beta right around the corner, and what I mean by that is the end of the sneak week, with new players and fresh players basically coming into the game. One of the things I was asked a lot on the forums and on the comments and in personal messages was for budget decks. Decks that were relatively cheap to make. Decks that don't take legendaries or epics, either one, and only use the basic heroes and are pretty much comprised of commons and uncommons. So what I wanted to do was I really wanted to go through and show my process for building decks that I know are really effective against the AI and especially against PvE challenges. I'm like a lot of people who started playing this game. When I first started, I got a PvE challenge, and I was using the old Rage starter deck, which was basically just a bunch of really low-cost, 1-health minions, and against the Corruption PvE challenge, who starts out with 30 health, 3 mana, and has like 10 copies of Noxious Fumes. Believe me, it was beyond painful to try and complete that PvE challenge. There was some literal headbanging involved in that process of beating it. So eventually I ended up getting enough cards and building another deck, and I'll show that deck here. I've shown it before, but I still keep this deck around. It's beyond beautiful when it comes to grinding against the AI. Now it does break my budget rule, because it uses an advanced hero and it uses 2 legendaries. But I mean, even if you don't have Antriel, or you do have the Antriel from the Order Quest location, then put her in. Especially one Triangelica, I've won that with that against the AI a lot. But the other one I really wanted to show off was this Dominion deck that I had built. And I tried it out. I've grinded a whole bunch of games with it, and it's extremely effective. Now, it does play Karthus and Drela, but Drela you can get, again, from the quest. And I put in Karthus just because I wanted to test him out. The deck can absolutely be played without Karthus, and I wanted to show you something. We're going to just go in and we're going to edit the deck, just so I can show you what it's like to take out the 2 epics. And obviously we're going to knock the Blood-Seeking Mutant down to 2. To replace people like Karthus and Drela, you just need some sort of other life gain alternative. So perhaps a Chalice of Yunks, or you could go even heavier into the implants. That's the word. I'm sorry. And place cards like Gross Experiment. You could go with Mind Extortion, because if you're able to get rid of the card in your opponent's hand that's going to screw you over, then maybe you don't really need the Karthus. Power Seeker is another really good option, especially with Moon Priestess and Power Surge if you want to play Power Surge. I love Moon Priestess, not too sold on Power Surge, but the fact that he's a 0/1 that can be buffed up for mana is actually really good, and actually a really good finisher. I don't run him in the deck just because he's not really my style, but you could also play Bloodborne Prince, especially if you have the Drela. Where is she? If you get the Drela from the quest, you could put in Bloodborne Prince, because you could sacrifice creatures that you take from Drela and put them on Bloodborne Prince. Personally, I would just I'd probably just play Power Seeker, to be honest with you. Power Seeker, or even some Silverblade Warriors for that kind of early mid-game board control. When it comes down to it, I think Swiftblade Assassin is just head and shoulders above Silverblade Warrior, just because of his ranged ability, and that means that he can trade with pretty much with a lot of stuff and not die. I mean, sure, you have to pay the mana to prevent him from bouncing back to your hand, but that's what Moon Priestess is for. At any rate, that's just a deck I wanted to spotlight real quick. What I want to do now is I want to just build a deck from scratch, like they do in those painting shows and those cooking shows. Show you what it looks, what it can look like at the end, and then do one right in front of you. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to do a Wisdom deck, since I don't really have a Wisdom deck built. And what we're going to do is we're going to play, we're going to have a limit to play sets of certain rarities in our deck. What I mean by that is we're only going to be allowed 4 commons, 3 uncommons, and 2 rares. That's going to be our play set. Like normally in a game, you can have 4 of a card, right? You can have 4 Charged Aurite, you can have 4 Disquisitive Spirits, you can have 4 Words of Knowledge. But in our budget deck build, playlists or playsets are going to be 4 for uncommons, 4 for commons, 3 for uncommons, and 2 for rares. I'm sorry. And we are going to build a deck under those specifications, and 1 legendary or 1 epic if we have the epic. And I'm not going to include epics in this, but if you want to build a budget deck under these guidelines and send it to me, I will. I'm going to do a whole I'm going to do 1 video showing off all the budget decks that I've been accumulating, that people have been sending me, and I'm going to do that probably next week. I don't know when I'm going to do kind of the cutoff for decks from my for that, but at any rate, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to play 4 Disquisitive Spirit. I really like this card. It trades with goblins, and it draws you a card, and it's got the 3 speed, so it can chump block just about anything. It also trades with a number of elves. Next, I'm going to play 4 Charged Aurite, just because we're going to kind of go energy in this build. One thing I did want to mention, too, is the secret to success against the AI is having turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, drops. Having something to play on just about every turn is what's going to help really win games against the AI, and especially in PvE challenges. In the Angel deck I showed you, I only have 1 drop, but I have like 2 drops, 3 drops, and it just kind of snowballs from there, so to speak. I have a deck that can consistently put out cards or creatures, or have cards to play, on turns 1 through 5, basically, are the decks that do extremely well against AI. Now, I also have a Rage deck that I've been playing. It's just Rage Rush, and it's extremely effective against the AI just because the AI doesn't seem to know how to play against Rush. So, anyway, getting back to this, we're going to play 4 Golem because it's a great, turn 2 play for 2/2, and it blocks, it kills, it does a whole lot of stuff. Next, we're going to play some Force Mages. This is really good because it helps people trade. It helps your Golems trade up into, say, Swiftblade Assassin, into important stuff. It helps you trade so much better. It basically lets you trade for free in a lot of instances. We're going to play 3 Lightning Elemental because it's an uncommon. And this is to buy you time, and it's also to help you win, because shocking down your opponent's last defender or the creature that they're probably going to block with can be big. We're also going to play 4 Flashfreeze because Flashfreeze is just good. Freeze is an amazing mechanic for taking care of big creatures. Freeze a creature, and then especially if you're running into it with something with a shield on it, then you're just so super happy. Foundry Engineer, we're going to play 3 of because it's an uncommon, and because it's and Forcewielder, also a 3 of. These are going to be kind of our win condition by flooding the board with a lot of golems and overwhelming the AI. Basically, one of the things to keep in mind is that the AI doesn't like to attack unless they can guarantee that they either get the damage through or that you have no trades at all. So if they're swinging if they have like a 6/6 and you have 3 little golems in play, they won't attack because the game or the AI does register, hey, he's got the potential to trade 3 dudes for my 1. I'm not going to attack. And that's what you want. You want situations where the AI doesn't want to attack, where you can build up and build up and build up and build up and just swing for immense damage. We're also going to play 3 Library Guardians because the cantrips are always good, and a cantrip is a card that replaces itself in your hand when you play it. So any card that draws you a card or gives you a card whenever you play it. Speaking of cantrips, I can't believe I forgot this. We're going to play 4 Astral Dive just because A, it gives energy, and B, it's a cantrip. So it gives energy to Forcemage Protector, it gives energy to Charged Aurite, it gives energy to Foundry Engineer, and it gives energy to the Spectral Aurite, which is going to be one of our finishers. Because you can play this, you can late game, you can go with Forcewielder and give it all your mana as energy and swing in with a 10-3 with 3 speed. And if you put a shield on it, then suddenly, like, what are they going to do? How are they going to get rid of it other than to pacify? So that's pretty much the deck. You could play Dust Titan, but it is a rare, and I'm trying to avoid rares. So this, as you can see, this deck is really solid. It's got a lot of synergy in the energy sense. You could, if you wanted to, you could fit in some Ancient Wisdoms, but seeing as Advanced Daris or Basic Daris draws you a card every turn with his ability, I'm not totally sold on Ancient Wisdom. You could play a couple copies, especially if you don't have a full play set of stuff like Forcemage Protector, or if you only have 2 Foundry Engineers. Basically, use Ancient Wisdom to fill any missing cards that you have here. Like if you only have 2 Charged Aurite, put into Ancient Wisdom. Ancient Wisdom is a great card to just kind of fill the niche, you know what I mean? The missing cards. Another really great card to go in for missing cards is Gnome Power Engineer. It gets rid of Endless Tombs, which is can be a problem. It gets rid of Lamp against the AI. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, this card belongs in the deck. And I think we're going to take out the Lightning Elementals, and we're just going to put in 3 Power Engineers. There it is. One of the other things you can do with this deck is you can kill off your own, like, you play him, you sacrifice one of the Golems that you make through Foundry Engineer. Suddenly you have an energy to give, say, the Spectral Aurite, say, the Forcemage Protector. So there's a lot of synergy there, too. Now, I didn't go really into any of the artifacts because A, I'm trying to avoid rares, and the best artifact is Lamp of Saphir. But because we're mono Wisdom, don't need Obelisk of Unity. Airship Explorer can be a good card. It's really good for cycling, but not necessarily needed in kind of the Wisdom energy list that we're building here. Because we are playing such such heavily into energy, I do want to play 2 Thaumic Labratory, just because it can give you that little extra energy for, say, swinging with lethal with Spectral Aurite, giving the Foundry Engineers that extra Golem, and of course the rest are just going to be Wisdom Shrines. Every one of the budget decks that I've considered playing are going to play 20 Shrines, the ones that I just think to build at any rate. And there you have it. I've played, this is a very similar list to what I was playing. I tried this list out, and I played this back when I first started playing, right way back in closed beta, and I played a list extremely similar to this. The numbers were a little off because I wasn't constraining myself to a budget list build, so to speak. But I found this deck to be extremely effective against the AI, and especially more so now that the Rage AI isn't as fast. It's a lot slower because it's more focused on shamans and totems and such. Because of that, the one bad matchup that this deck had, which was against Rage Rush, and Rage going turn 1, I don't know what, turn 1 Goblin Warrior, turn 2 either Lizard Barbarian Goblin Warrior, or turn 2 Fireball to kill off whatever you played, is just kind of hard to come back against in a lot of decks. But this deck, because it's got the Disquisitive Spirit for the early game blocks, because it's got the Charged Aurite to really get your snowball rolling on turn 1, because it's got the Forcemage Protector and cards like Library Guardian that are just really good at trading with early game stuff, I really feel like this deck can be really, really solid. So let me know what you guys think in the description, in the comments below. I hope this helps. Again, this is the first in a line of budget deck kind of videos, especially with the new or the open beta going full open here in a couple days. I really want to help new players as best I can. There will be a series of like an introduction to Spellweaver, but instead of doing one long video, which anyone who's been following my channel for a while knows kind of went all terrible when I tried to do it. It was my worst video ever, and I just sort of gave up on that whole idea. My Spellweaver 101 series, which is on my channel, there was originally an introduction, kind of an overview of the mechanics and such, but it went on for a long time. I rambled, I and I and I paused a lot, and it was just overall a bad video and not up to the quality that I tried to hold myself to. So what I've decided to do now is I'm going to be releasing a whole little, like a mini series kind of thing of all the different mechanics. I'm going to spend one video on, say, the mechanics of a card, the level, the mana, the health, the speed, what does speed mean, kind of thing. I'll do a one about the difference between spells and artifacts, the difference between instants and regular actions, and stuff like turn progression and blocking and stuff will be a whole episode of their own. So expect to see those at some point. I'm gonna try and sit down and complete all of those videos, all at once, but we'll see what reality has to say about that. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like, comment, subscribe, the whole 9 yards. Remember, especially with the game going into full open beta with the end of Sneak Week, anything you can do to help my channel get more popular, spread the word. The more people can see my channel, the more people who will get into Spellweaver. I mean, they're not going to see my channel and go, oh my god, this guy's so awesome, I've got to play the same game as him. That's not going to happen. But, getting the word about Spellweaver around, especially the people who are getting fed up with Hearthstone with the way Blizzard has been handling the new paid content with the new heroes and the stuff. A lot of people are pissed off at Blizzard right now with the way they're handling Hearthstone. So you know what that means? That means we can recruit them and turn them into Spellweavers. He. So anything you can do to get the word out about the game, about my channel, which helps get the word out about the game, please do it. This game is as big and as popular as we make it. It's up to us as the community. The devs can only advertise the game so much, and they can only do so much to push the game. They need our help. So anything you can do for my channel also helps everything with the game itself. So that's going to do it for me, guys. As always, may the cards rise to meet you and bring good RNG to your enemies.